Lynette Gay could not come apparently for some reason, so her assistant, secretary is here to talk for a few minutes. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Hogue-Ellsworth. I'm the Executive Director of Engage Now Africa, and I'm really grateful to be here. I apologize on behalf of Lynette, who is our chairwoman, and has been heavily involved in the work that we do to bless people's lives in Africa. She had a family issue that arose this morning and asked if I would speak on behalf of her, and I said, well, it can't get better than either you or me, because we both have a very clear understanding of what we are doing to help the people of Africa and here in Utah as well. It is so great to look out over this audience and to see of your desire and your willingness to address some very complex issues of refugees and poverty and the things that make this life really burdensome to some. Let me give you just a little bit of an introduction to myself. I actually graduated from UVU in International Development Policies of Developing Countries, and met our chairwoman about 12, 13 years ago when I was working at the United Nations on public policy issues. It feels like, I'm not that old, but I am getting a little older. It feels like I, one way or another, and also our chairwoman, whom I met in my early 30s, have been involved in the humanitarian and poverty issues of the world. You might ask what that has to do with refugees. Well, in many respects, in many respects, refugees are very much inclusive into what we are doing with Engage Now Africa, but in a little bit of a different vein. The refugees, if you look at the United Nations and the way that they define refugees, they talk about refugees who have been removed from their country forcibly, asylum seekers, many of the types of people that you've heard today. But one of the things that I think is very interesting as you delve deeper into this issue of the refugee crisis is a little bit of a forgotten people, and that is people who are internally displaced families. And it's interesting that the United Nations estimates that about 65 million people are actually internally displaced. And that means they've been forced or obliged to flee or leave their homes or places of habitual residence in order to avoid armed conflict, situations of generalized violence, violations of human rights. So in Sierra Leone, if any of you have been following the problems in Sierra Leone, the way that you would know or maybe understand or have heard about them is blood diamonds, the blood diamond conflict in Sierra Leone. And it was a terrible, terrible civil war that reigned in Sierra Leone from the mid-90s to the early 2000s. And there was a group of people who were forced or conscripted to join the army there. And as the violence reigned, many lost limbs, had limbs amputated. And as a result of that, were forced to leave their homes. And some left, and others stayed in country, but ended up in amputee camps there. And so you'll walk in, we work in 7 amputee camps. We'll give you a little bit of an idea. Sierra Leone as a country is right up on the right, and then in Bo, Right here on the far left is Freetown, where the largest city is, and then the second largest city is Bow, just right outside of there. We have 7 amputee camps that we work in. And so if you'll notice, any type of limb, there's a woman who's lost both arms, a man who's lost both legs. Obviously this man right here has lost his arm. And one of the things that we have sought to do over the past 10, 12 years, or excuse me, 5, 7 years that we've been in Sierra Leone is to provide these people with some types and forms of dignity. Our mission as an organization is quite an ambitious one, and that is to alleviate poverty, eradicate poverty, build self-reliance, and strengthen families. And we seek to do that in whatever way that we can. With our refugee, with these families here, we have adult education or adult literacy program. We have a wonderful farming program that teaches people how to farm and grow their own food. And I just got back from Sierra Leone about 3 weeks ago, and it was interesting that they have began growing their own food, and some of the people who don't have amputated limbs, just people who live by them, actually steal these amputees' food. And somebody was chuckling. They're like, "Yeah, people who can actually have 2 arms, 2 legs that can work will take their own food, take these families' food." And so we work really hard to help these people. In fact, we're working right now with BYU Engineering Department to put together a socket for prosthetic limb, for artificial limbs, to help out these individuals who are so anxious to be able to do what they need to do to be successful. We support couple hundred children of the amputees to be able to go to school. It's interesting, the story of the lives of these people are really before the war were some fairly marginalized people, but as a result now of their displacement are even more marginalized, and as you can imagine, there's not much of an opportunity here to help. Now you might ask, what does that have to do with Utah? We have a program included in our mission of addressing the issues of modern slavery, human trafficking. And we have a gentleman who's the managing director over our modern slavery and human trafficking. And in this program, we address many of the issues that refugees address, because in many ways, some of these refugees will end up getting caught in the trap of slavery and human trafficking. And our Lynette's oldest son is actually the one who really has developed the model of prevention, rescue, and rehabilitation. That's how we had brought Tito on as our refugee advocate, and many of the individuals that we are not an organization that seeks to rescue millions. We are an organization who really is dedicated to those that we rescue, ensuring that they get the proper treatment to be reintegrated back into society. We work quite closely with the Attorney General's office here in Utah, because we are beginning to expand into the foray here of human trafficking and addressing that. And we have found that really where the greatest need is through refugees. We, with love, help. We just had, right before I left for Sierra Leone, we did a big family neighborhood night, and we had about 50, 70 people. We had a bake sale, a big truck that was selling dinner, and proceeds from that came to us, and everybody brought new and gently used clothing for the young children that you saw in these camps, and we took all of our stuff over. It has been really inspiring to see people such as yourself come together as a community and say, okay, there's some really unique things, or there's some unique talents, there's skills that I have that we can help contribute. And so I guess my encouragement or thought to you is, as you listen to all of us speak today, to think about ways that your skill set could help our organizations. I love what Daniela said. I worked in the nonprofit industry for most of my life, and there are portions of people who feel like we need to compete, and we don't have a market on human trafficking. We don't have a market on any of these things, and all of us, I think, would love and welcome the help that you can offer your unique and inspired talents and skills that will allow us to be able to truly address the greatest needs of organizations, and how and if there's something that I've learned in the time that I've been here, is how important it is to collaborate, because everybody has ideas that are unique and that are different, and I wish I could come up with all the creative ideas, but there's real power in bringing hearts and minds together to further this great work. So thank you very much, and I'll let the next person speak.